welcome back to Famous Interviews, boasting brilliant banter with glittering glitterati who are dearly départés. And few are as freshly départés as the one I am planning for today. Now, it's no secret I've been a long-time fan of this much-anticipated guest ever since I was a tiny tot, when she was first exposed to me in film. What's that, Egbert? No, not that type of film. Heavens! You've been spending far too much time on your interweb. Now, in her film, rated G, rated very G, she made such a large impression on my youthful and vulnerable sensibilities that I am still overwhelmed to this day by the uniquely unusual sound of her voice, which, once heard, would be decidedly difficult for anyone to forget. Must have been an important factor in the making of her sex. Suck sex. Undoubtedly why she's so often imitated. Often imitated, but never duplicated. No. Ain't nothing like the real thing, as they say. And what could be more real than 4 1-pound 10-ounce Tony statuettes? Not to mention the Golden Globe, Grammy, Drama Desk Awards. No shortage of metal on her mantle. Though, of course, there are those, I suppose, think the sound of her voice grating, her manner crass, her humour over the top. Much as me ex's Frederick, very over the top. Though looking back, he's really more the under-the-bottom type. Oh, Frederick. Never made anything of himself but a tippler, a trickster, and a hustler. All mouth and no trousers. That's Frederick, a big cock-up. Hard to resist that. Well, I did resist it. But enough about Frederick. Into my favourite seat. Yes, now, I've never cared for tipplers, but I've never been averse to a bit of responsible imbibing. Here's to you out there. After all, wouldn't be much of a show without you, would it? No, of course it wouldn't. If a chat show fell in the woods, would anyone hear? No, I don't think they would. Though hopefully you're not in the woods, but at home in front of the telly or computer, or on whichever device you currently consume mass media. It's easy for you to say. However you're viewing, unless you just happen to have crawled from under the Rock of Gibraltar, you know I've been summoning a stellar series of celebrity spirits, and today's guest is no less spectacular. She started her career on Broadway, pretty much ended it there as well, with a minor detour into film and television. But really, how most of you shall remember her undoubtedly, is in her role as Dolly Levi. What's that, Egbert? No, not Barbara Streisand. Heavens, she's still very much alive, isn't she? And even if she weren't, she's of the Hebrew faith. I don't think they have an afterlife. Although surely the real afterlife, ours of course, would forgive that teensy triviality and make room for one as celebrated as she, such a funny, funny girl. Hello, funny lady, if you're watching. Well, of course you are. Shalom. So I shall not be summoning Barbara, as if she'd answer, but none other than Carol Channing. Yes, Carol Channing. When I heard the unfortunate news of her passing, I was absolutely thrilled. Not that she was dead of mind, but that she'd be finally available for a chat with moi on Famous Interviews. Yes, well. So, without further ado, let us commence the conjuring. Well, perhaps one further ado will do. All right. Are you ready? Strengthens me psychic powers. Don't startle me, Egbert. A candle for you, maybe. A beacon of light to focus your flight. Yes, there. Oops. Almost. There we go. There we are. All right, ready? My dearest Carol Channing, I bring you gifts from life to death, oodles of greenhouse treats, We all know if your spirit nibbles, it won't be nibbling meats. Famous vegetarian. Commune with us, dearest Carol Channing. Commune with us. Move amongst us. Move amongst us. Have a carrot or a celery stick. For heaven's sakes, don't be donkey's ears. Oh, my goodness, you're here. It's really rude.
Hello, Mary. Well, hello, Marys. It's so nice to be... Where exactly am I?
You're right here avec moi on me little chat show, famous interviews. And you know my name, you spirits never cease to amaze me. Oh, we're going to have such a lovely chinwag, aren't we?
I don't believe in plastic surgery. I'm a Christian Scientist.
No, darling. Chinwag doesn't mean facelift, it's a chat, a gabfest. And did you say you're a scientist? Yet another of her many talents.
I'm a Christian Scientist. It's a religion. I was born into a Christian Science family, and we don't believe in doctors. Of course, I have nothing against doctors. And also, we don't believe in age, you see. And so it's perfectly permissible with Christian Scientists never to discuss your age. I never discussed mine. Of course, I knew a few Jewish girls who did the same thing, but with me, it was legal.
Well, I must have a little scientist in me. I adhere to the same philosophy, but if you don't believe in doctors, what on earth did you do when sick?
What always worked for me was to try and not get sick in the first place. The only time I was really ill was on a flight from London to New York. Not that it was a rough trip, mind. The other passengers enjoyed it. For me, it was rough because they were showing Hello, Dolly with Barbara Streisand.
Well, that brings up another point. A sore point, I might add. May I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Did I not let you?
No, of course not.
I didn't?
No, you did. I mean, you didn't not let me.
Well, you do seem to take your time about it.
Oh, heavens. How is it? How is it?
How is it what? You didn't finish asking a question. Do you always take this long?
How is it you didn't get the part in the movie Hello, Dolly? And perhaps we're having an insight right now. Didn't that make you sick?
Oh, yes. Well, I wanted to jump out the window when I read it in the paper. Of course, the movie was nothing like the play, except for Jerry Herman's songs and lyrics. They kept those. Isn't that wonderful?
I imagine it would have been rather difficult to have done a movie musical without the songs.
I thought the same thing. And aren't they terrific? Jerry wrote oh so many Broadway hits.
Yes, I am what I am.
Perhaps you are, but try and focus, Mary. I'm talking about Jerry Herman's. He wrote Mame, Milk and Honey, La Cage aux Folles, The Grand Tour, Mac and Mabel, Parade, Hello, Dolly, the words and the music.
Yes, he's a genius, does it all and so well.
Jerry has a peculiar knack for capturing all of our innermost feelings. At least he did mine. Did you know he's deaf in one ear? If he gets a cold, he can't hear anything. And what good is a deaf composer?
Well, Beethoven seems to have managed it rather well. Is it true you never missed one performance of Hello, Dolly?
That's right. I missed a half of one. Stomach flu in Kalamazoo. They had to roll me off in a white stretcher. The audience applauded that I had lasted that long.
However did you keep your dolly fresh day after day after day?
Mary, there are all kinds of ways to keep your dolly fresh. Oh, you meant the character. Well, Al Pacino asked me the same question, and I said, there's nothing more stimulating than a new audience, or a new dolly freshener, or a new costume.
Oh, my goodness, you're Lorelei Lee.
Yes, diamonds really are a girl's best friend.
if you can't find a good dolly freshener. Now, just between you and I, we have something in common. We both have a son. I'll wager you were as wonderful a mother, a great example, as I know I am to me own sweet son Cecil.
I'm afraid you lose that bet. I wasn't a very good mother at all. Ethel Merman said to me, how do you tell a son you love him when you're doing 8 shows a week, and interviews and everything to keep the show going? And you raise him between matinees and evening shows? Her son didn't know she loved him. I'm afraid I was just as bad as Ethel Merman as a mother.
I can't believe it. If nothing more, you must have taught him perseverance. Stick-to-itiveness is very important for the young ones nowadays, especially with their cell phone-induced reduced attention spans.
I think they should put down their cell phones and rejoin the human race. Before the parade passes by, I'm gonna get in step while there's still time left.
Darling, wake up and smell the carrots. Your time is now eternal.
Before the parade
Like this song.
passes by, and down she comes down that stairway, and they do Hello Dolly. She's back where she belongs.
Perhaps it's time for all of us to be getting back where we belong. Tell me, how did you break in?
Well, I didn't break in at all. You summoned me, remember?
No, dear, I meant, how did you break into show business?
Well, why didn't you say so? I went to Bennington College. Ever heard of it?
Yes. Well, no, actually, I haven't. Where exactly is it?
It's in the lower left-hand corner of Vermont. I studied drama and dance at Bennington, a progressive college for young women. Although I understand now they do allow some men to attend, but the ratio is 2 to 1, so the girls have to be really progressive. You don't think that was funny? It loses something in the translation, I suppose. You British just don't speak the same language. It's often hard for Americans to understand the original tongue.
You do mispronounce many words here, don't you?
Amen to that, sister.
Amen.
What does that mean?
Amen.
Oh, amen. You say amen?
No, you do. I say amen. You say amen.
I say amen. You see, here in America, men is plural.
Certainly have been in my life. Now, speaking of men...
Were we?
We are now. Carol, if I may presume to be so familiar...
Yes, of course. The time for formalities has long passed.
I'm so glad you feel that way. Perhaps, therefore, you won't mind my asking... Is it true that you and your husband, Charles Lowe, never had...
Never had what?
sex? Sex!
No, of course that's not true. We had sex. Twice.
Twice? Only twice?
Yes, old times on our honeymoon.
But darling, you were married for over 40 years.
Did you have any other questions? Please say you do.
Well, all right. Moving along, if that's how you feel. You were known for being very careful of what you ate, n'est-ce pas?
I was a vegetarian, Mary.
Yes, I know, poor thing.
Why do you say poor thing? I kept my figure and my good health all my life.
Indeed you did, except for that touch of influenza you just shared with us. Brava! Would you care for a bite now? I've assembled this selection juste pour vous, although it's a little wilted.
Well, that's very sweet of you, but I now consume only celestial nourishment. Soul food.
Soul food? And vegetarian? Won't find that at Sylvia's. Just think of all the delicious meat you've never had in your mouth, including Mr. Lowe, I'd venture.
Mr. Lowe was a big meat eater.
That would explain a lot. I, too, am a great consumer of meat. Now, enough about what you do or don't put into your mouth. What about what comes out of it? I'm referring, of course, to all the sweet songs you've blessed us with over the years. Care to share another brief verse with us?
Hush. Is there someone else here? Are you hiding other ghosts?
No, silly dilly. I meant all of the brilliant viewers tuning in. Why not give us another snippet?
Well, all right. Now, Mary, every time, Mary, that I sing this song, it makes me so happy, Mary, because this song is from one of my favorite musical shows.
Hello, Dolly. Watch.
I sang it first on Broadway and then around the world and back again for over 3,000 performances.
She's gone again. And just between you and I, perhaps it's for the best.
Hello, Mary. Hello, Mary's. Ooh, I feel the room swaying. I think your spell is weak.
Heavens, and that's never happened before. Perhaps that old ditty is blurring your connection with the here and now. Shall I try a reinforcement?
Oh, could you? Well, no. But yes. Well, no. Oh, yes. Well, I suppose I really should be going anyway, but this is so much fun, isn't it? Why not try and keep me just a little bit longer?
All right.
Do that voodoo that you do so well. Oh, do it again. I may say no, yes, no, 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 but do it again. It's working.
And you're back.
Oh, no one is near, just me. I may cry, oh, 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 but no one will hear, just Mary. Have I gone on too long, or is that another summoning gesture? I've overstepped, haven't I? Well, that's so easy to do with such a lovely audience.
You flatter me, I'm sure. It seems all it takes is even so small an audience as one to send you into raptures.
Not just one. You're forgetting all the viewers at home.
Hello, darlings. My viewers, my dear, are something I never forget. Now, Carol, where does all of your endless energy come from? The cosmic currents?
It's funny you should say currents. I think it is electric. When I had an audience, it was like plugging me into the nearest outlet, and suddenly my batteries were recharged.
Careful you don't overcharge. Don't want to end up in an inferno, like those cell phone batteries often do. You must have taken all that electricity with you into your afterlife. I can feel the sparks from here. I'm sure all of you at home are feeling a little shocked.
Human beings coming into contact with each other creates energy in both the human beings.
Well, I'm a human being, but you're a being. For the time being.
And it still works. Isn't it wonderful?
Delightful. Now, are you aware that much as Betty Davis, Judy Garland share, you are quite popular to imitate amongst the drag queens?
Drag queens. Ever since I was in theater. Well, World War II, World War I, I don't know. Well, really, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Exactly what Betty Davis said.
They wouldn't want to do us if they didn't like us. That's what I keep telling myself. They do have 5 o'clock shadow sometimes. You know, the gays are the best audience in the world.
I agree. And more echoes of Betty Davis.
Isn't that sweet? Sweeter than what you said about me in your monologue.
What do you mean? What did I say?
That I'm grating, crass, over the top.
No, you misunderstood, darling. I wasn't speaking for my mem. I was just quoting some of your harsher critics. And how do you know what I said during my monologue? You weren't here.
I was here, in spirit. Now, I'm afraid it's time to go, Mary. It's been swell Mary's. But I don't want to be late for my celestial tour of Hello Dolly. I'm playing all the dead cities, and I don't want the curtain to go up without me. Goodbye, Mary. Au revoir, Mary.
She's gone. Quel fromage. Touring all the dead cities. Can she mean Syria? Unlikely. I don't even know if they allow theatre anymore. Perhaps by dead cities she meant Pompeii, Constantinople, Detroit. Well, what a thrill to have finally met one of me childhood infatuations. Certainly can go on about Hello Dolly, can't she? Well, it was her greatest claim to fame, wasn't it? Seems to be the greatest part of her afterlife as well. But she's still bubbling with energy, isn't she? Perhaps a vegetarian diet translates into an energetic afterlife. Maybe we should all try giving up meat. Bollocks to that. The producer Ebert claims to eat meat without swallowing. Well, I could never give up meat. Now, kale, I could do without. What I can't do without is vous, and I do hope you've enjoyed our petite visit and will join me again next week for yet another extraordinary encounter with who knows what fantastic phantasm. Until then, I shall do my very best to remain the very living Lady Mary Pozah. And this has been Famous Interviews. To you out